Have you ever felt that sinking feeling when you open your mouth to speak English, but the words just vanish? Your brain freezes, your heart races, and all you can do is hope nobody noticed. That exact fear has stopped millions of English learners from ever speaking confidently. But what if I told you the key to breaking free might already be right in front of your ears? Today, we're going to explore a deceptively simple, yet unbelievably powerful method: listening. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical strategies, mini exercises, and the confidence to turn frustration into progress. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode that could change your journey. I remember sitting in my tiny apartment late at night, headphones on, staring at my phone screen. I had just downloaded yet another English podcast, thinking, this time I'll finally understand every word. But as soon as it started, it felt like my brain was drowning in a flood of sounds I couldn't catch. It was a dense, unending wave of noise, not language. I'd listen to a sentence, maybe get one or two words, and the rest would just blur into a meaningless stream. I'd pause, replay, pause again. My chest tightened. My heart pounded. My shoulders were tense, pulled up toward my ears. Every sentence I didn't understand felt like a tiny but painful failure. That tip of the tongue feeling was unbearable. I knew the words, somewhere in my brain. They were tucked away, neatly memorized from a vocabulary list, but they refused to come out. It's like my brain had a library of words, but no librarian to help me find them when I needed them most. Have you been there? That paralyzing moment where listening feels exhausting, slow, almost painful. You're not just passively taking in information, you're fighting with your own mind. It's a battle of attrition against your own confidence. That's not failure. That's your brain stretching, preparing for real comprehension. It's the sound of new neural pathways being forged. Think about it like this. Your brain is a muscle. When you lift weights for the first time, your muscles burn and ache. It's not a pleasant feeling, and you might feel like you're failing, but that pain is actually a sign of growth. It's proof that your muscle fibers are breaking down so they can rebuild stronger. The same thing is happening in your brain when you struggle to understand spoken English. That feeling of being overwhelmed, of missing key words, it's not a sign of failure. It's the linguistic equivalent of muscle burn. It means you're on the right track, pushing past your comfort zone and getting stronger. The struggle isn't a roadblock, it's the road itself. So why does this happen? Why does listening feel so much more difficult and frustrating than, say, reading or memorizing vocabulary? Let's break it down into the core psychological and neurological reasons. Every time you listen but don't understand, that tiny inner voice whispers, "You're not good enough." It's the same voice that freezes you in conversations, the one that makes your heart race. When a native speaker asks you a simple question, we're so afraid of looking foolish or making a mistake that we create a mental block. Our brains, in a subconscious effort to protect us from this perceived embarrassment, shut down. It's a self-defense mechanism, but this fear doesn't just stop us from speaking, it also prevents us from truly hearing. When you're afraid of what you might miss, you're not actually listening for understanding. You're listening for what you don't know. And that's a losing game. The goal isn't to catch every single word. The goal is to get the gist, to understand the intent. When you release the pressure of needing to be perfect, your brain can relax and actually process the information. The human brain learns languages subconsciously by noticing patterns, intonation, rhythm, common phrases, and how sounds link together. Think of it like a baby learning to talk. A baby doesn't start by studying grammar rules. They spend an entire year or more just listening. They're absorbing the music of their native language, the melody of a question, the rhythm of a statement, the way sounds connect to form words. They're building a massive database of patterns. Speaking forces production before comprehension, while listening prepares your brain quietly, without pressure. You can listen for hours on end without anyone knowing whether you understood a single thing. This creates a safe space for your brain to do the heavy lifting of language acquisition. It's the difference between trying to play a song on the piano you've only seen on a sheet of music and hearing that same song played for you 1,000 times. Eventually, after enough listening, your fingers will know where to go on their own. Many learners think, I need to understand everything to speak fluently. That's a powerful but false belief. The reality is that native speakers don't understand 100% of what they hear either. They miss things. They mishear things. They get distracted. The real secret of fluency comes from enough understanding to predict words, sentences, and patterns naturally. In a typical conversation, a very small percentage of the words actually carry the most meaning. This is the 80-20 rule of language learning. About 20% of the words are used 80% of the time. Think about filler words like, you know, or common phrases like what's up or how's it going. When you're listening, your brain needs to learn to identify these high-frequency words and phrases and use them as signposts to navigate the rest of the conversation. You don't need to understand every single word in a sentence to know that someone is asking a question or telling a story. Your brain, with enough practice, will learn to fill in the gaps. Ready to put this into practice? Let's do a mini exercise right now. This isn't about vocabulary or grammar. It's about pure, unfiltered sound. Try this. Pick a short audio clip, even just 30 seconds. A clip from a movie, a song lyric video, or even just the intro to this podcast episode. Listen without translating a single word in your head. Don't even try to understand what's being said. Instead, focus purely on the sounds themselves. Can you notice the rises and falls of the speaker's voice? Where do they put the stress in a word or a sentence? Does their voice go up at the end of a question or down at the end of a statement? Can you hear where the speaker pauses for breath? Where do two words seem to link together into a single sound, as if they've been glued together. That's your brain training, even if you don't understand a single word yet. You are mapping the auditory landscape of the English language. This is a foundational skill. It's like a painter studying the different shades of a color before they ever pick up a brush. You're building the muscle memory for your ears, preparing them to recognize and process the sounds of English, so that when the time comes to speak, your mouth will know what to do naturally. Think of how different "I have to go" sounds when spoken quickly. It often sounds more like "I gotta go," or how "going to" becomes "gonna." You'll never learn these natural reductions by just reading a textbook. You have to hear them over and over again. This exercise trains your ears to hear what's actually being said, not just what's written on a page. I was in a small London cafe trying to order coffee. My heart was pounding. My palms were sweaty. I was rehearsing the sentence in my head over and over. I want a cappuccino. I said it, my voice a little shaky. The barista, a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, responded instantly. Sure, one cappuccino. Anything else? The words weren't complex, but in that moment, the triumph wasn't in the words I said. It was in my comprehension. I had understood her perfectly. I felt the rhythm of her sentence, processed her pace, and intuitively knew exactly what she was asking. My listening had prepared me for real-life English long before my speaking ever caught up. The pressure to speak was what had made me nervous, but my ability to listen was what gave me the confidence to even try. This is a critical point. Your listening skills will always be stronger than your speaking skills. This is true for everyone, in every language. You can understand a joke in a foreign language long before you can tell one. You can follow a complex conversation on a podcast long before you can lead one yourself. That gap between your listening and speaking ability is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of a healthy, natural learning process. Your listening skills are the foundation upon which all your other skills will be built. Don't be discouraged by this gap. Embrace it. See it as a sign of progress, not a sign of a problem. So, how do we actively build this listening muscle? Here are some practical strategies you can start using today. 1. Make listening daily and varied. Consistency is far more important than intensity. Don't try to listen for 2 hours straight once a week. Instead, aim for 10 minutes a day. Just 10 minutes. This could be on your commute, while you're making coffee, or before you go to bed. The key is to make it a habit, something as routine as brushing your teeth. I started with 10 minutes a day. I used podcasts, songs, and even audiobooks. At first, I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it. It was just background noise. But after a few weeks, I noticed something remarkable. My brain started to predict words I hadn't consciously studied. I'd be listening to a podcast, and I'd know what the speaker was going to say before they said it. It was like a little superpower, a tiny, internal voice whispering, "The next word is because." This wasn't magic. It was my brain making connections, noticing patterns, and building an internal linguistic map. Vary your content. Listen to a wide range of things. Podcasts. Find a podcast about a topic you're already interested in. If you love cooking, find a cooking podcast. If you're into true crime, there are thousands of podcasts for you. This makes the process less like studying and more like enjoying a hobby. Audiobooks. Start with a children's book or a young adult novel. The language is often simpler, but the stories are still engaging. Music. Don't just listen to the song, read the lyrics while you listen. This connects the sounds you're hearing with the words you're seeing, which is a powerful way to reinforce learning. Short videos. Watch vlogs, cooking shows, or interviews on YouTube. The visual context can help you understand words and phrases you might not catch otherwise. 2. Active listening. The shadowing technique. This technique is a game changer, and it's one of the most powerful things you can do to bridge the gap between listening and speaking. Pick a sentence from an audio clip. Pause. Repeat that sentence exactly as the speaker says it. Try to match their rhythm, their intonation, and their speed. Don't just say the words. Try to mimic their voice, their pitch, and their pauses. I used to repeat a single sentence 10 times. It felt silly at first, standing in my living room, talking to myself. But it was incredibly effective. It felt like I was rewiring my brain. My pronunciation improved drastically, and I started to feel the natural flow of English in my mouth, not just in my ears. Shadowing forces you to pay attention to the little things. The silent H in hour, the linked T and A in what about. It's the linguistic equivalent of a dancer practicing a new routine in front of a mirror until the movements feel natural. 3. Focus on patterns, not translation. English has a rhythm. It has stress patterns. It has linking sounds. You don't need to translate every single word into your native language. That process is slow and clunky. You just need to feel the flow of the language. Instead of translating, "I'm going to the store," word for word, your brain should learn to hear the phrase, "I'm gonna the store," as a single, indivisible unit of meaning. It's like how you don't think about the individual letters when you read a word like apple. You just see the whole word, and your brain instantly recognizes it. Your goal is to train your brain to do the same thing with spoken phrases. 4. Accept partial understanding. This is one of the hardest things for learners to do. We've been conditioned to believe that if we don't understand 100%, we've failed. This is a myth. Your brain fills in the gaps naturally. Don't get frustrated when you miss a word. Just keep listening. Think about watching a movie in your native language. Do you catch every single word of dialogue? Probably not. You might miss a word here and there, but you understand the plot, the characters, and the emotion. That's because your brain is a master at using context to fill in the blanks. Trust your brain to do the same thing in English. Fluency grows from exposure, not perfection. Every word you miss is a word your brain is learning to ignore so it can focus on what matters. 5. Reflect and produce. Listening is only half of the equation. To truly make progress, you need to connect what you hear to what you say. After listening to something, even for just a few minutes, pause. Ask yourself, what did I understand? What new phrase or word caught my attention? Write it down. Say it aloud. Try to use it in a sentence of your own. That's where comprehension becomes production. You're taking a passive skill, listening, and turning it into an active skill, speaking and writing. This could be as simple as listen to a short news clip. Write down one key phrase you heard. Listen to a song. Write down a lyric you like and try to use it in a conversation with yourself. Listen to a podcast. Summarize the main idea in 1 or 2 sentences. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine this with me. Imagine you're sitting in a park on a sunny afternoon. The sound of birds chirping and children laughing is in the background. You put your earbuds in and press play on a short story. At first, it's just confusion. Words fly past, a blur of sound and meaninglessness. Your brain says, "Stop, I don't get it." You feel the familiar knot of frustration start to form in your stomach. But then, you take a deep breath. You remember the advice to just listen for the sounds. You shift your focus. Slowly, you catch a word, then another. It's not perfect, but you start to hear the music of the language. The rhythm clicks. You start to anticipate the rises and falls of the voice. And then, a little miracle. You predict the next word before it arrives. A sentence ends, and you smile. A small, private triumph. Your heart relaxes. You feel a lightness in your chest. You're not just listening. You're learning without even realizing it. The language is no longer a puzzle to be solved, but a river you are floating on. This is the goal. This is what we're working toward. Learning to let go and trust the process. This is a simple but powerful technique to train your brain's predictive power. It's the key to moving beyond simply hearing words to anticipating them. Find a short dialogue, maybe a 1-minute clip from a movie or a podcast interview. Listen to the first sentence. Pause. Before you play the next sentence, take a moment to predict what might come next. Don't worry about getting it right. Your brain is simply learning to anticipate, to think in English, to create its own context. You're training your brain to be a detective, looking for clues in the speaker's tone, the context of the conversation, and the words you did understand. This anticipation is a secret fluency shortcut. It's what allows native speakers to speak quickly and fluidly without having to consciously think about every single word. They're constantly predicting what will come next. Let's imagine a simple, everyday scenario. You're at the supermarket checkout. Cashier, did you find everything you were looking for today? You, in your head. Okay, I know find and everything. The rest is just noise. But the feeling is friendly. It's a question. I think she's asking if I got what I needed. You, out loud, with a confident smile. Yes, everything. Thank you. Notice your internal monologue. You're processing, predicting, and producing simultaneously, training both comprehension and speech. You didn't understand every single word, but you got the meaning. That's the victory. That's what fluency looks like in the real world. Even with the best intentions, it's easy to fall into traps that slow your progress. Avoid these common pitfalls. Listening only to transcripts or translations. While transcripts can be a helpful tool, relying on them too much prevents your brain from doing the hard work of connecting sounds to meaning. You won't learn the natural rhythm, intonation, and linking sounds if you're always reading along. Your brain will get lazy, and when you're in a real conversation without a transcript, you'll be lost. Jumping to speaking too soon. This is a huge one. We're often told we need to speak from day one. While a little practice is good, trying to force speaking before you have a solid listening foundation is like trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. You'll be constantly frustrated, and you'll get stuck in the weeds of grammar and vocabulary you haven't yet internalized. Let your listening skills build first. Feeling frustrated and giving up. Every struggle is progress. The moments when you feel like you're not getting it are the moments when your brain is doing the most work. Don't let a bad listening session discourage you. Just like a professional athlete doesn't give up after one bad workout, a language learner shouldn't give up after one frustrating day. Consistency is the key to unlocking your fluency. This exercise is designed to get you to think about language in a completely new way. As a tool for emotion, listen to a short story or a scene from a movie. This time, don't focus on the words at all. Instead, focus on the emotion. Is the character angry? Happy? Scared? Can you hear the tension in their voice? The sarcasm? The joy? As you listen, act out what you hear. Laugh when the character laughs. Sigh when they sigh. Try to mimic the emotional delivery, even if you don't know the words. This helps your brain internalize the tone, feeling, and rhythm of English. This is the part of language that makes it feel natural and human. It strengthens your natural understanding and speaking confidence in a way that just memorizing vocabulary can't. The breakthrough moment for me came during a phone call with a friend in English. It was a casual conversation, but for the first time, I wasn't thinking about grammar, spelling, or a vocabulary list. I just listened, intuitively understood, and responded naturally. The words flowed out of my mouth, almost on their own. My brain and my ears had done the work. Speaking flowed because listening had paved the path. It was like I had walked down a new overgrown trail 1,000 times, and now, for the first time, I was running on it. The path was clear, familiar, and easy to navigate. I wasn't consciously building the sentences. My brain was doing it for me, based on the thousands of hours of listening I had done. And that's the truth. Listening is the silent superpower of English fluency. It builds intuition, reduces fear, and trains comprehension naturally, long before you're confident enough to speak. It's the engine that powers your progress. Let's quickly recap the key takeaways to guide your journey. Listening is your secret fluency engine. It's the most important skill you can develop for long-term success. Daily, active, varied listening rewires your brain. Don't just listen. Listen intentionally, with curiosity and a focus on the sounds and patterns. Focus on rhythm, intonation, and comprehension, not perfection. Trust your brain to fill in the gaps. Accept partial understanding. Progress comes from consistency, not from perfection. Don't let frustration stop you. Turn listening into production through reflection, shadowing, and mini exercises. Make what you hear a part of your own speaking. Every pause, every sentence you don't understand is not a setback. It's training. Your ears are building a foundation that your brain and mouth will follow. So put on your headphones and get started. The road to fluency is in your ears. Here's your challenge. Pick one listening strategy today. Shadow a podcast. Replay a movie scene, or do the pause and predict exercise. Do it for just 10 minutes. Then, comment below. What did you notice today that you never heard before? And if you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating, subscribe, and share your journey. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep growing.